bottle shattered against the brick wall of O'Malley's, shards of amber glass exploding like fireworks in the humid New York summer night. Nathan Blackwell, heir to a real estate empire that scraped the clouds of Manhattan, stumbled back, his silk tie askew, blood trickling from a shallow cut on his cheek where a flying fragment had nicked him. "You think money buys everything, you entitled prick?" the bartender roared, her voice a gravelly thunder that cut through the stunned silence of the dive bar patrons, fists clenched like she was ready to swing again. Izzy Ramirez wiped her hands on her faded black jeans, the ones that hugged her athletic frame like a second skin, and fixed Nathan with a glare that could melt steel. At 28, she was the undisputed queen of this East Village hole-in-the-wall, slinging drinks with the precision of a surgeon and the attitude of a street fighter. Her cropped hair, buzzed on the sides and tousled on top, framed a face etched with the hard lines of someone who'd scrapped her way through foster homes and dead-end jobs. The barflies knew better than to cross her. Hell, even the rats in the alley gave her space. Nathan touched his cheek, staring at the crimson smear on his fingers, more shocked by the fire in her eyes than the sting. He'd come here on a whim, fleeing another sterile gala where champagne flutes clinked like hollow promises and women in designer gowns eyed his fortune like it was foreplay. O'Malley's was supposed to be an escape, a gritty antidote to his penthouse life. But one ill-timed joke about her dyke vibe, whispered too loudly after 3 whiskeys, had ignited this powder keg. Now, as the crowd murmured and pulled out phones to capture the meltdown, Nathan felt something twist in his gut. Not anger, but a raw, unwelcome spark of admiration. "Get out," Izzy snarled, pointing to the door with a tattooed arm that flexed under the neon glow of the Budweiser sign. "And don't come back unless you want to learn what a real blackout feels like." He should have bolted, tail between his legs, back to his chauffeured Escalade idling curbside. But Nathan Blackwell didn't run from fights. Not the boardroom battles that built his $2.3 billion portfolio, nor the personal ones that left his heart scarred from a string of lovers who loved his wallet more than his midnight confessions. Instead, he straightened his jacket, met her gaze and said, "Fair enough, but you owe me a drink. On the house." The bar erupted in nervous laughter, and even Izzy cracked a reluctant smirk, her shoulders easing just a fraction. "Oh, you? Dream on, rich boy." She turned back to the bar, grabbing a rag to mop up the mess, but not before Nathan caught the flicker of curiosity in her dark eyes. He left that night with his cheek throbbing and his mind replaying her voice, wondering if the tough shell hid something softer, or if he was just another fool chasing shadows in the city that never sleeps. 2 weeks later, Nathan found himself back at O'Malley's, nursing a Jameson on the rocks like it was penance. The cut on his face had healed into a faint scar, a badge he wore with ironic pride during investor meetings. His days blurred into a rhythm of glass towers and power lunches, but nights dragged him here, to the sticky stools and the jukebox crooning Springsteen. He told himself it was the anonymity, the way the bar's dim corners swallowed secrets whole. But deep down he knew it was her. Izzy spotted him the moment he walked in, her radar tuned to trouble like a hawk. She poured his drink without asking, neat, 2 fingers, and slid it across the scarred oak counter. "Back for more punishment?" Her tone was laced with sarcasm, but she lingered, wiping a spot that didn't need wiping. "Redemption," Nathan replied, clinking his glass against the air in a mock toast. "Or masochism. Jury's still out." She snorted, a sound that was equal parts amusement and disdain, and leaned on her elbows, close enough that he caught the faint scent of citrus from her hand soap mixed with the smoky undertone of the bar. Up close, without the haze of anger, she was striking. High cheekbones dusted with a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow of stubble, lips full and quirked in perpetual challenge. The flannel shirt rolled to her elbows revealed forearms corded with muscle from hauling kegs and breaking up brawls. Nathan had pegged her wrong that first night. Everyone did. In a city quick to label, Izzy's tomboy edge screamed lesbian to the casual eye. The baggy cargos, the combat boots, the way she bantered with the female regulars like old flames. But Nathan wasn't casual. He'd done his homework, the way he did with every acquisition. subtle questions to the barback, a quick scroll through her sparse socials. Nothing concrete, just enough to fuel the intrigue. Was she? Wasn't she? It shouldn't matter. He'd bedded men and women in equal measure. His bisexuality a quiet footnote in tabloid whispers. Yet here, in the thrum of O'Malley's, it did. Because for the first time in years, Nathan didn't want a conquest. He wanted a conversation. They talked that night, halting at first, like two boxers circling the ring. Izzy shared scraps. Growing up in the Bronx, bouncing between relatives after her mom's overdose. Landing in the bar world because it pays the rent and keeps the ghosts at bay. Nathan offered glimpses of his own gilded cage. The pressure of Blackwell Tower looming over Midtown. The father who'd built it brick by blood and died before teaching him how to feel anything but ambition. "You're not what I expected," she admitted around last call, stacking chairs with efficient grace. The bar was empty now, just the hum of the fridge and the distant wail of sirens. "Neither are you," he shot back, and for a heartbeat, their eyes locked. A current humming between them, electric and unspoken. He left with her number scrawled on a napkin. No promises, just, in case you need a real apology drink. Nathan pocketed it like contraband, his pulse racing as he stepped into the muggy night. Back in his Tribeca loft, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Hudson like a black mirror, he poured another drink and stared at the city lights. What was this? A crush? A distraction? Or the start of something that could shatter them both? The text started innocently. A meme about bad bosses, a photo of a ridiculous street vendor hot dog. Izzy's replies were sharp, witty, laced with emojis that punched like jabs. Nathan found himself checking his phone during mergers, grinning at boardroom faux pas. She invited him to a poetry slam in the village, where she recited verses about fractured families under strung Christmas lights, her voice raw and resonant. He clapped louder than anyone, bought her a post-show beer at a quieter spot, and for the first time, held her hand under the table. Not pushing, just there, warm and tentative. But doubt gnawed at him. The signals were mixed. Izzy's easy camaraderie with the lesbian couple who owned the tattoo shop next door. The way she high-fived a butch regular with a familiarity that twisted his gut. One night, after a heated Knicks game on the bar TV, she slung an arm around a woman's shoulders, laughing at some inside joke. Nathan watched from his stool, jealousy coiling like smoke. "She's not into you," he told himself. "You're reading it wrong. Let it go." Yet he couldn't. Weeks blurred into a tentative rhythm. Late-night walks along the High Line, where graffiti murals whispered rebellion. Shared slices of pizza from hole-in-the-walls that Nathan pretended weren't beneath him. Izzy opened up more. The foster brother who turned her world upside down. The scar on her soul from loving too hard and losing too fast. Nathan confessed his own ghosts. The ex who drained his trust fund and his heart in one fell swoop. The family legacy that demanded perfection at the cost of passion. One rain-slicked evening, as thunder rumbled over Central Park, Nathan leaned in during a cab ride home from an indie film fest. "Izzy, The words hung vulnerable. She turned, raindrops beating on her lashes, and cupped his face with calloused hands. Their kiss was fire and storm, tasting of popcorn and possibility, her body pressing against his with a hunger that erased every doubt. In that moment, under the yellow glow of street lamps, Nathan knew she wasn't lesbian. She was his. But truths, like skyscrapers, have foundations that crack under weight. The morning after their first real night together, tangled sheets in Nathan's loft, sunlight slicing through blinds like golden knives, Isaiah slipped out before dawn, leaving a note. "Coffee's brewing. Had to open the bar. Don't overthink this." Nathan didn't. He floated through a day of emails and espresso, replaying the curve of her hip against his, the way she'd whispered his name like a secret. O'Malley's that night was packed, a Friday frenzy of laughter and clinking glasses. Izzy moved like liquid behind the bar, pouring shots with flair, her smile flashing brighter when she caught his eye. Nathan claimed his usual stool, content to watch, to belong in this chaotic orbit. Until Marcus showed up. Marcus Hale, venture capitalist with a jawline like chiseled marble and a laugh that boomed over the din. He was Nathan's old fraternity brother from Yale, the kind of guy who turned every room into his personal TED Talk. "Nate, you slumming it with the plebs again." Marcus clapped him on the back, sliding onto the stool beside him, already flagging Izzy for a round. She poured with professional detachment, but Nathan caught the subtle stiffen in her posture, the way her eyes flicked away. "On the house for old time's sake?" Marcus teased, winking. "You always did have that tomboy charm. Remember that party in '09? You had half the sorority swooning." Izzy's jaw tightened, but she played it cool, sliding the drinks over. "Ancient history, Mark. What'll it be, scotch or amnesia?" Nathan chuckled, but unease prickled. Marcus launched into war stories. Deals closed in Dubai, yachts in the Hamptons, his arm draping casually over Nathan's shoulder. It was the old dynamic. Marcus the alpha, Nathan the strategist in his shadow. But tonight, with Izzy in the mix, it grated. When Marcus leaned too close to her during a lull, murmuring something about catching up, Nathan's fist clenched around his glass. "Easy, killer," Marcus said later, as they stepped out for a smoke in the alley. The air was thick with garbage and regret. "She's a firecracker, but come on. Everyone knows Izzy's playing for the other team. That whole bartender vibe? Classic closet case." Nathan exhaled smoke, the cigarette bitter on his tongue. "You don't know her." Marcus barked a laugh. "Better than you think. We hooked up once back in the day. Or tried to. She shut me down cold. Said she wasn't into dicks like mine." He air-quoted, oblivious to the punch it landed. "Trust me, Nate. If you're barking up that tree, you're gonna get sap in your teeth." The words lodged like shrapnel. Nathan waved off the cab Marcus called, walking the 10 blocks home in a drizzle that soaked through his shirt. Hooked up? The kiss in the cab, the night in his bed. Had it been pity? Experimentation? Or worse, a game? He texted her, "Marcus says hi. Everything cool?" Her reply came hours later. "Yeah, just an asshole from the past. Sleep it off." Sleep evaded him. Dawn found him pacing the loft, the city waking to honks and hustle below. By noon, he'd convinced himself it was nothing. Marcus exaggerated, always had. But the seed of doubt sprouted, twisting their budding thing into something thorny. They met for brunch in Soho the next day, a sun-drenched cafe with avocado toast and oat milk lattes that screamed Nathan's world. Izzy showed up in her usual armor. Doc Martens, ripped jeans, a hoodie that swallowed her frame. She devoured her eggs with gusto, moaning appreciatively, and for a while it was easy. Talk of her shift horror stories, his latest boardroom drama. Then, casual as a summer breeze, "So, Marcus, what's his deal with you?" Izzy paused, fork midway to mouth. "Deal? Guy's a walking ego trip. Tried hitting on me freshman year at some party. I told him to fuck off, politely." Nathan's relief was palpable, but he pressed. "He said you weren't into guys." Her laugh was sharp, like broken glass. "Marcus says a lot of shit. Half the campus thought I was a dyke because I wouldn't sleep with him. Truth? I was figuring myself out. Still am." She reached across the table, squeezing his hand. "But you're not a dick like his. You're real." The knot in his chest loosened, and they spent the afternoon wandering galleries, her head on his shoulder during a Basquiat exhibit, his fingers tracing the ink on her wrist. A compass rose, pointing nowhere and everywhere. That night, back at O'Malley's, she pulled him into the stockroom during a slow hour, their bodies crashing together against crates of liquor, kisses fierce and forgiving. But Marcus lingered like a bad aftertaste. He texted Nathan invites to poker nights, bros-only affairs laced with subtext. Nathan declined, but the whispers followed. At a rooftop mixer, a colleague ribbed him. "Heard you're chasing skirts in the village. Bold move for a guy who dates models." Nathan brushed it off, but the isolation crept in. His world was an echo chamber of wealth and want. Izzy's was raw edges and real talk. Bridging them felt like walking a tightrope over the East River. Fall deepened, leaves turning the parks to fire. Their rhythm solidified. Tuesday tacos from a truck in Hell's Kitchen. Thursday jazz at a basement club where she'd sway against him to saxophone sighs. Nathan introduced her to his sister, Elena, over dinner at his place. Elena, the artist with paint under her nails, who hugged Izzy like a long-lost sibling. Finally, someone who doesn't bore you to death, she teased Nathan later. Izzy met his gaze across the table, eyes soft. He's not boring, just layered. Yet layers hid fractures. One crisp October night, after a double shift, Izzy showed up at his door unannounced, eyes red-rimmed, a duffel slung over her shoulder. "Can I crash?" "Bar drama. Boss is on my ass about inventory." "Of course." He pulled her inside, into the cocoon of his king bed, where she curled against him, body trembling not from cold but something deeper. In the dark, she confessed. The foster brother, Javier, who'd been more than family. Her first love, a stolen summer of fumbling touches and whispered promises before he ghosted her for the Marines, leaving a void filled with bar fights and bad decisions. "I thought I was broken," she murmured, voice muffled against his chest. "Like loving him made me unlovable." Nathan held her tighter, his own scars surfacing. The ex, Landon, who'd charmed his way into the penthouse only to sell stories to the Post about Nathan's wild bisexual nights. Betrayal's bite was universal. "You're not broken," he whispered, kissing her temple. "You're the strongest person I know." Their lovemaking that night was slow, reverent, bodies mapping forgiveness in the sheets. Dawn brought lazy coffee on the terrace, the skyline a silver promise. For the first time, Nathan glimpsed forever. Not in contracts or closings, but in the quiet way she stirred sugar into his mug, 3 lumps exactly. But forever's a luxury for the unwary. Marcus struck again at a holiday party Nathan couldn't dodge. Blackwell Enterprises' annual gala, black ties and caviar dreams in the plaza's ballroom. He brought Izzy as his +1, her in a borrowed blazer and slacks that turned heads for all the right reasons. She held her own, charming execs with tales of barroom philosophy, but Marcus cornered them by the champagne tower. "Izzy Ramirez," he drawled, eyes raking her like property. "Slumming with the help now, Nate? Careful. She's got a rep for breaking hearts. And other things." Izzy's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Reps are for reruns, Marcus. This is live." Nathan stepped between them, jaw set. "Back off." The tension crackled, but Marcus just smirked, toasting with Crystal. "Your funeral, buddy." He melted into the crowd, leaving poison in the air. Later, in the cab home, Izzy was quiet, staring out at twinkling lights. "You okay?" Nathan asked. She nodded, but her hand in his felt distant. "Just tired of the labels, the assumptions." He pulled her close. "Screw them. We're us." But us was fracturing. Whispers reached Nathan's ears. Anonymous emails hinting at Izzy's side gigs. Photos from years back showing her arm in arm with women at pride rallies. Doubt, that insidious bastard, whispered. What if Marcus is right? What if this is her rebellion against her own truth? The first real fight erupted over Thanksgiving. Nathan invited her to the Hamptons estate, a sprawling colonial where his mother presided like a dowager queen, silver hair piled high, judgments veiled in pearls. Izzy arrived in boots and denim, a stark contrast to the crystal and cashmere. Dinner was a minefield. Probing questions about her line of work, sidelong glances at her tattoos. "You're so grounded," his mother said, as if it were a euphemism for underclass. Izzy's fork clattered. Grounded? Like dirt? Or like the foundation holding up this McMansion? The table froze. Nathan jumped in, diffusing with charm, but the damage lingered. In the guest room, as snow dusted the dunes outside, she packed her bag. "This isn't me, Nate. Your world. It chews people up." "It's our world now," he pleaded, blocking the door. "Don't let them win." She deflated, dropping the duffel, and they made love with desperate urgency, as if bodies could bridge chasms. But morning brought flight, her to the city, him to a tense family brunch where Elena pulled him aside. "She's good for you. Don't fuck it up." Too late. Back in Manhattan, Nathan threw himself into work, sealing a deal for a waterfront high-rise that netted millions. Celebration drinks at O'Malley's turned sour when he overheard bar talk. Izzy's been weird lately, moping over that suit. He confronted her shift's end, voice low. Am I just a phase? Some straight-passing experiment. Her eyes flashed hurt, then fury. Fuck you, Nathan. You think that's what this is? After everything. Then why pull away? Why let Marcus get in your head? Because he's right about one thing. She shot back, voice breaking. I'm not out. Not fully. Grew up hiding who I am. Gay in a macho foster world. Tomboy so no one questioned the vibes. You wear it like a badge at your fancy parties. The words landed like slaps. Nathan reeled. So what? We're both figuring it. No. You get to play both sides. I don't. She stormed out, leaving him amid empty stools, the jukebox mocking with My Way. Days stretched to silence, texts unread. Nathan buried in blueprints, but the loft echoed empty. Elena dragged him to therapy, a neutral Swiss-accented doc who unpacked his abandonment fears. Landon's ghost. Love isn't ownership, she said. It's risk. Christmas loomed, lights strung like nooses. Nathan showed up at O'Malley's on Eve. The bar decked in tacky tinsel, Sinatra crooning chestnuts. Izzy poured his drink, eyes guarded. Truce? He asked, sliding a gift across. A leather-bound journal, for her poems. She traced the cover, throat working. You shouldn't. I want to. He stood, cupping her face, the bar fading to blur. Their kiss was mistletoe magic, tentative then torrent, patrons whooping like it was midnight. But magic phrase. New Year's brought the call. Marcus, slurring from a yacht party. Your girl's a gold digger, Nate. Spotted her cozying up to that tech bro last week. Classic. Nathan hung up, rage boiling. He raced to the bar, bursting in at closing. Tell me it's not true. Izzy, wiping counters, froze. What? The tech guy. Marcus saw. She laughed, bitter. Saw what? Me pouring his drink? Jesus. Nathan, paranoia much. But the seed bloomed poison. He stormed out, into confetti-strewn streets, fireworks bursting overhead like false hopes. January bit hard, winds howling off the harbor like scorned lovers. Nathan threw himself into the high-rise project. Ground broken in Red Hook, steel beams rising like accusations. Board meetings blurred into nights of takeout and takeoffs, single malt and solitude. He avoided O'Malley's, the East Village a no-go zone mapped in his GPS of regrets. Elena checked in, her voice paint-flecked worry. You're spiraling, bro, call her. Pride demanded he didn't. The betrayal, if it was that, stung deeper than Landon's leaks. Izzy's words echoed, you get to play both sides. Was he the villain, assuming her truth fit his narrative? Or was she the enigma, layers upon layers hiding a con? Fate, that cruel bartender, served intervention via a blizzard. The nor'easter blanketed the city in white fury. Subways stalled, streets ghost towns. Nathan's power flickered in the loft, generator humming to life. Boredom drove him to old texts, her poems screenshot saved. Lines about bridges burned and hearts rebuilt. By candlelight, ironic, given the storm, he penned his own. Clumsy verses about skylines and second chances. Come morning, the plows hadn't reached the village. On impulse, he laced boots over slacks, hailed a snowcat cab, and trudged to O'Malley's through drifts knee-deep. The bar was shut, windows frosted, but smoke curled from the apartment above. A walk-up where Izzy crashed between shifts. He knocked, snow-dusted, heart hammering. Footsteps, then the door cracked. Her, in sweats and a thermal that clung, hair wild from sleep. Nathan? What the? Get in here before you freeze. The place was a time capsule of her. Posters of Audre Lorde and Frida, books stacked like barricades, a guitar gathering dust. They thawed with hot toddies, steam rising like unspoken words. I was an ass, he started, hands wrapped around mug. Doubt's my default. Sorry. Izzy sighed, sinking onto the sagging couch. Me too. Marcus is a trigger, reminds me of hiding. But you make me want to stop. They talked till numbness set in, her coming out story, whispered to a counselor at 19, the relief laced with fear. His bisexuality navigated in ivy shadows, dates with men dismissed as phases by his old man. Vulnerability bridged the gap, and when the power surged back, they celebrated with takeout pho from the corner spot, laughing over chopstick fumbles. The thaw extended. By Valentine's, they were tentative again. A picnic in Washington Square, despite the chill, her head in his lap as buskers strummed Dylan. She gifted him a playlist, Springsteen deep cuts mixed with her indie folk faves. He surprised her with tickets to a poetry retreat in the Catskills, a weekend escape from concrete cages. The cabin was rustic heaven. Pine walls, stone hearth, snow blanketing the woods like forgiveness. They hiked frozen trails, her hand in his glove, breaths clouding in tandem. Evenings by firelight, she read new work, odes to unlikely loves, his name veiled in metaphors. Their bodies synced like seasons. Slow builds to fervent releases, skin glowing in flicker. "You're my North Star," he murmured one night, tracing her compass tattoo. "Steady in the chaos." She smiled, but shadows lingered in her eyes. "Stars fall, Nate. Just promise you'll catch me." He did or tried. Back in the city, their worlds collided more. Her meeting his team at a project site, hard hat crooked on her head, earning laughs with quips about union busting. Him behind the bar for a charity night, sleeves rolled, fumbling pores to cheers. Photos leaked to his socials. Candid shots of them mid-laugh, caption city love. Drawing likes and side eyes from his circle. Spring bloomed, cherry blossoms dusting Brooklyn Bridge walks. Nathan proposed a trip. Napa, wine country escape, his treat. Izzy hesitated, fancy, but relented, packing light for the flight. Amid rolling vineyards, they tasted cabernets that loosened tongues. Her dream of opening her own spot, a queer-friendly cafe with open mics. His confession of burnout, the empire feeling like a noose. One sunset on a hilltop overlook, grapes heavy on vines, he dropped to one knee. Not ring, but a key, to a pied terra in the village, deeded half to her. "Build with me, not my world, ours." Tears streaked her cheeks, joy and terror. Nathan, yes. God, yes. They sealed it under stars, bodies entwined on a blanket, the world vast and welcoming. But empires crumble from within. Return brought the leak. An Insta story from Marcus's account, screenshot before delete. A blurry pic of Izzy at a rooftop party Nathan skipped, arm around a bearded guy in flannel, caption, "Old flames flicker? NYC nights." Nathan saw it at 3 a.m., jet-lagged in his office, the city asleep below. Heart jackhammering, he called her. Straight to voicemail. By dawn, he was at O'Malley's, bursting in pre-open. Who is he? Izzy, restocking fridges, world. What? Nate. It's 7 a.m. The guy. Marcus's post. You said no sides, but here's proof. Her face crumpled, then hardened. That? Bar regular. Hugged goodbye after shifts. Nothing. Bullshit. Rage blinded him, old wounds suppurating. I'm done being the fool. The millionaire chasing illusions. He stormed out, slamming the door that rattled windows. The walk home was a blur, Hudson glittering mockingly. Elena called, saw the post. This edited shadows wrong. Talk to her. But pride walled him. Days bled to weeks. Radio silence his fortress. Work consumed. The high-rise topped out, ribbon cutting with flashes and fanfare. He smiled for cameras, but inside hollowed. Izzy, meanwhile, unraveled. The bar felt like a cage, every pore a reminder. She confided in Lena, the tattoo artist. I love him, but trust? It's glass. Lena inked a fresh piece on her rib. A phoenix, flames licking upward. Rise or burn, babe. Your call. May brought heat waves, sidewalks shimmering. Nathan's birthday loomed. A low-key dinner Elena insisted on. He arrived at her Brooklyn brownstone numb, gift bag dangling. Guests milled, artists, a few suits. But his eyes snagged on the door. Izzy, in a sundress that hugged curves he'd mapped by touch, hair grown out a touch, eyes haunted. "Elena invited me," she said, voice small. "Said you needed this." He wanted to rage, to flee, but the pull was magnetic. Dinner dragged, small talk a minefield. After cake, Elena shooed them to the roof. String lights, city panorama, a cooler of beers. "I'm sorry," she started, twisting a label. "The pick, barfly named Theo. Ex-friend, nothing more. Marcus doctored it to fuck with us." Nathan leaned on railing, skyline blurring. "Why believe you, after everything?" "Because I walked away once. Won't again." She stepped close, hand on his arm. "I outed myself to my boss today. Told the crew, gay, proud, done hiding. For us." The confession cracked him. He pulled her into embrace, sobs muffled in her hair. "I love you, Izzy." Terrified me. "Love's terror," she whispered. "But worth it." They rekindled slow. Coffee dates turning to overnights, bar shifts ending in his loft. June's Pride Parade saw them marching hand in hand. Rainbows on cheeks, her voice chanting loud. His donation to the float, anonymous but hers. Yet shadows lengthened. Marcus, undeterred, escalated. Whispers to investors. Nate's distracted, personal drama. The high-rise hit snags. Permits delayed. Whispers of sabotage. Nathan dismissed it, but paranoia crept. July 4th, fireworks over the East River. They watched from his terrace, her head on shoulder. "Future's bright," he said, kissing her temple. She smiled, but unease flickered. "As long as we face it together." Together they were, until the boardroom bomb. August sweltered, the city a pressure cooker of ambition and asphalt. Nathan's high-rise, now the Blackwell pinnacle, gleamed half-finished, a 60-story testament to grit. But cracks spiderwebbed, bids inflated, suppliers ghosting. At a tense exec meeting in the C-suite, overlooking the frenzy below, his CFO slid a folder across mahogany. Anonymous tip, sabotage from within. Nathan flipped pages, gut sinking. Emails traced to a dummy account, but the signature? Izzy's handwriting, scanned from a bar napkin, the one with her number that first night. "Impossible," he breathed. The execs murmured. Personal entanglements cloud judgment. Nathan, Elena on the periphery as creative consultant, shot him a look. "Fix this." He confronted her at O'Malley's close. Bar empty save ghosts. "The leak. You're writing." Izzy's face drained color. "What?" "Nate, I deny it." Voice steel but cracking. "Tell me you didn't sell me out for some grudge." Tears welled, but fury rose. "Sell you out? After Pride? After the key?" She yanked her phone, dialing. "Look, voicemails from your weasel friend Marcus. He's been hounding me. Ditch the loser, or I spill your secrets." I ignored, but he hacked my email? Planted shit. Nathan wavered, folder burning in hand. "Proof? None. Just trust." Her voice broke. "Like you trusted that photo." The chasm yawned. He left without word, door clicking final as a guillotine. Back in the loft, he paced, city lights mocking. Calls to IT traced the hack, Marcus's IP, sloppy cover. But damage bloomed. Stock dipped 3%, board demanding distance from distractions. Elena stormed his office next morn. "You're an idiot. Fire Marcus, not her." "I can't. He's connected, old money, board allies." Nathan rubbed temples. "And if she's in on it? Then you're blind." She shoved a USB. Lena's recordings. Izzy venting to her about Marcus's threats. "Listen, then grovel." He did. Alone in the dark, her voice raw. "He thinks I'm using him. God, Lena, I love that fool." Tears pricked. But pride chained him, another day of silence. Izzy, adrift, threw into work. Double shifts, poetry slams where verses bled pain. The bar felt toxic, regulars prying. "Where's the suit?" She dodged but hollowed. September's equinox brought the storm literal and lit. Hurricane remnants lashed Manhattan. Subways flooded, power grids flickering. Nathan, Hold in a backup office, fielded crisis calls. Then Elena texted, Izzy's place flooded. She's at O'Malley's, roof leaking. Go. He fought traffic, wipers battling sheets of rain, arriving to chaos. Bar half submerged, Izzy bailing water with buckets, soaked to bone, cursing like a sailor. Their eyes met across the deluge, hers defiant, his wrecked. Help or gawk, she snapped, tossing a mop. He grabbed it, sloshing beside her, silence companion to splashes. Hours later, bar secured, they collapsed on the stoop, rain easing to mist. I traced it, he said finally. Marcus, all of it. She nodded, chin on knees. Knew he would. He's poison, always was. Why not tell me? Fear. Of losing you. Voice whisper. Thought I could handle. He pulled her close, wet flannel chilling. We handle. Together. Rebuild started small. Her crashing at his. Bar repairs funded quietly by him. October gilded the wounds. Foliage tours upstate. Where she sketched leaves, he snapped pics. Love deepened, tempered. Therapy sessions joint, unpacking betrayals like luggage. But Marcus lurked. November board vote loomed, his ouster or Nathan's. Whispers peaked. Gala invite list scrubbed of undesirables. Izzy's name floated as liability. Nathan fought, allying with Elena, but old guard dug in. Thanksgiving redux. Hamptons, but this time Izzy insisted. Face them head-on. His mother, thawed by Elena's nudges, served pie with tentative warmth. You look happy. I am, Izzy said, hand in Nathan's under table. Gratitude swelled. December danced in with deadlines. Christmas Eve, Nathan cornered Marcus at a holiday mixer. Plaza again, chandeliers dripping light. Resign, or I expose the hacks, the forgeries. Marcus sneered, Scotch-slurred. You won't. Family name, Nate. And her? That dyke bartender? One call and her world's ash. The slur ignited. Nathan's fist connected, crack of jaw, blood on tux. Security swarmed, but damage done. Headlines by Morn. Blackwell Scion brawls at Bash. Fallout tsunami. Stocks plunged, board fury. Nathan holed up, phone off, Izzy his anchor. Brewing cocoa, reading aloud from her journal. We rebuild, she said, fierce. Like the bar. New Year's dawned crisp. Resolutions raw. He stepped down as CEO interim, he stressed, handing reins to Elena, focusing on ethical ventures. Affordable housing, queer youth shelters. Marcus, sidelined, lawsuit pending. But truth's blade cuts deep. One snow-dusted morn, post-coital glow. Izzy's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She glanced, paled. Javier. Nathan stiffened. The brother. Ex-deployed years, back now. Wants to talk. Jealousy flared, but he swallowed. Go. Closure's good. She did, meeting at a neutral cafe in Chelsea. Him pacing the loft, mind scripting disasters. Hours later, she returned, eyes distant. He apologized. For leaving. Said he was scared. My queerness, his straight-laced family. Nathan nodded, tension coiling. And nothing. Closure. But her hug felt off. Lingering on nothing. Doubt that Phoenix rose. Subtle shifts. Late shifts claimed. Phone angled away. February's chill mirrored his gut. Elena noticed. Talk, dummy. He did. Over Valentine's dinner. Fancy French spot. Irony thick. Javier. Is there? Izzy set fork down, eyes steel. No. But you're interrogating again. Trust. Nate. Or what's left? The fight simmered home, exploding in the loft. Accusations hurled. Old wounds ripped. You're pulling away, he yelled. Because you push, she countered. Always waiting for the other shoe. She left, duffel in hand. Back to her walk-up. Space her mantra. March Madness gripped the city, basketball brackets mirroring his turmoil. Nathan threw into work, shelter groundbreaking a highlight. Kids with stories like Izzy's, eyes lighting at his speech. But nights echoed empty. Izzy, meanwhile, Javier's shadow loomed, not lover but mirror. He confessed over coffees. His own hidden bisexuality, marriage crumbling. You were my first real, he said. Temptation whispered, but loyalty screamed louder. She blocked him, texted Nathan. Miss you. Space over? He replied, doors open. April showers brought tentative trysts. Park picnics, her poems shared anew. May's warmth sealed it or seemed. Pride planning united them. Float design, her vision bold, his funding quiet. But June's solstice scorched. Anonymous package arrived at O'Malley's. Photos, grainy. Izzy and Javier, embrace in the cafe, time-stamped. Note, truth hurts. End it. Izzy showed Nathan, hands shaking. Staged. He hugged goodbye. Awkward. That's all. But the image seared. Her face buried in his shoulder, intimate. Nathan's world tilted. How many times? None. God. Space? With him. Voice rose, cracking. Trust shattered. Glass fine as snow. He walked out into humid night, heart fracturing. The Pinnacle's penthouse sale masked his escape. California. Bored exile voluntary. He texted Elena. Need air. Tell her. Sorry. Izzy, photos burning. Confronted Javier. Denial. Then tears. I love Nathan. Always. Too late. He ghosted, number changed. July's heat peaked. Her bar shift a blur. Lena dragged her to therapy. Fight for him. August waned. Canyons between. Nathan in LA, beach walk solitary. Scripts for indie films, his pivot, stories of hidden loves. September equinox. Elena's call. He's broken, but fixable. Izzy booked flight, heart pounding. Los Angeles sprawled under October sun. Palm shadows long as regrets. Nathan's bungalow in Silver Lake clung to hills. Windows framing canyons that echoed his isolation. Mornings blurred to scripts. Tales of outcasts finding home. Afternoons hikes where eucalyptus whispered forgiveness. But nights? Whiskey and what-ifs. Izzy's laugh a phantom. He'd sold the penthouse slice, funneling proceeds to the shelter, now Isaiah House named quiet for her. Board stabilized under Elena. Marcus ousted in a hush payoff hush. Headlines faded. Blackwell's reinvention. But reinvention rang hollow without her. East Coast calls pulled. Elena's updates, laced with pleas. She's a mess, Nate. Poetry's all dirges now. Her choice, he muttered, but guilt gnawed. The photos? Doctored. Javier confessed to cops. Marcus's payoff for silence. Truth freed Izzy, but chained him in shame. Thanksgiving loomed. Elena's mandate. Fly home, or I disown. He did, landing in LaGuardia chill, city crisp as resolve. Elena's feast was intimate. Turkey, her partner, a few strays. No Izzy progress, he thought, till dessert, door knocked. There she stood, snowflakes melting in cropped hair, now threaded silver at temples. Wait. No, just light play. Eyes though storm-tossed seas. Elena ratted. Can we talk? His throat closed. Yeah. They walked Central Park post-meal, leaves crunching like confessions. I blocked him. For good. She started. And the bar? Quitting end of year. Your shelter, Isaiah House? Saw the plaque. Perfect. Nathan halted, breath clouding. For you. Always was. She cupped his face, thumbs tracing scar from that first night. I was scared. Of losing myself in your world. And I, of losing you to mine. He pulled her close, foreheads touching. But worlds merge. Like us. The kiss was autumn alchemy. Slow burn to blaze, under bare branches, joggers blurring by. They tumbled back to his hotel. Temporary Tribeca suite. Bodies rediscovering maps. Whispers weaving vows unspoken. December danced them forward. Joint therapy, her poems fueling his scripts. Christmas at Isaiah House. Kids reciting her verses, her voice guiding carols, his hand in hers anchor. New Year's on the High Line, fireworks bursting like rebirth. Spring 2026 greened tentative. Izzy's Cafe launched. The Compass, village nook with open mics and fair trade brews. Rainbow flag fluttering proud. Nathan's film pitched, unveiled. A gay romance laced with their echoes, greenlit by a queer director. But humaneness demands shadows. Javier's call came May, cancer, stage 4, from tour toxins. No strings, he rasped over line. Just peace. Izzy visited, Nathan waiting outside hospice, bronze oaks whispering. She emerged drained but whole. Closure, real this time. He held her as tears fell. You're my everything. June's pride swelled bigger. Their float, a bridge motif, spanning divides. They marched, hands linked, her in boots and blazer, him in pride tee undersuit. Chance rose, love wins. Yet climax crested not in glory, but quiet fracture. July heat wave, cafe packed, Nathan pitching investors nearby. Phone buzzed, Elena. Dad's will contested. Cousins claiming bisexuality, unfit air. Board wobbles. He raced to her, bursting in mid-rush. We fight, together. But stress cracked. Nights of arguments, old doubts surfacing. Your family's poison, she snapped one eve. Cafe closing, chairs upturned like barriers. And mine's not, he countered, voice rising. The bar, the labels. Words weaponized, love's blade dulling. She slept on couch, he in bed alone. August monsoon, tropical storm drenching coasts. Power out, city dark. They lit candles in the cafe, last patrons gone. Remember our first storm? He asked, pouring rain-cooled wine. She smiled faint. Blizzard bailout. Felt invincible. We are. He knelt. Ring this time. Platinum band etched with compass points. Marry me, Izzy. Build forever. Tears, yes. But hesitation flickered. Nate, the will. If I say yes, they paint me gold digger. Screw them. Fierce. You're my truth. She nodded, slipping ring on. Yes, us against the storm. But betrayal's echo resounded. September trial. Cousins' lawyers dredged dirt. Marcus testifying, voice oily. She manipulated. Tomboy act to snag the air. Headlines screamed. Blackwell betrayal. Lesbian lover or gold digger. Izzy, outed cruelly. Faced slurs at the cafe. Eggs on windows, reviews venomous. Nathan raged in court. Elena cross-examining surgical. But toll mounted. Her anxiety spiked. Poetry stalled. His sleep fractured. Film stalled. October gale force. Verdict loomed. They holed in the loft, fortressing with takeout and tunes. One night, storm raging, she confessed, I'm pregnant. Shock, then joy, test stick pink promise. Our bridge, he breathed, hand on her belly. But dawn brought the knife. Javier's letter, read postmortem, mailed pre-passing. Izzy, forgive. Loved you first, but he loves truer. Tell him truth stuns, but heals. No, wait. Deeper cut. Evidence Marcus bribed Javier for false testimony. Photos included. But the stun? Javier's secret. He'd been the tech bro, the hug. A setup to test her loyalty. Confessed in dying plea. Nathan read, world tilting. He protected us. Izzy nodded, sobbing. Knew Marcus's game. Staged to expose him. Betrayal layered. Marcus's web. Javier's sacrifice. Court crushed it. Cousins dismissed, will intact. Headlines flipped. Blackwell triumph. Love conquers lies. November healed slow. Cafe reopened. Community rallying, fundraisers, poetry nights packed. Nathan's film wrapped. Premiere tears. Her on red carpet. Bump glowing. His arm proud. December solstice. Wedding small, Isaiah House Chapel. Kids as ring bearers, Elena officiating. Vows raw. In storms and sun, you're my north. Spring 2027. Baby boy. Named Javier Nathan. JV. Cries echoing promise. They balanced. Her cafe thriving. His films Oscar buzzed. Family woven tight. Years blurred to grace. JV toddled village streets. Compass tattoo his lullaby tale. Nathan, graying at temples, still chased her behind counters. Izzy, lines etching laugh, still penned verses that stunned. In a city of millions, their truth echoed human. Love's not flawless arc, but jagged path. Betrayals forged stronger, conflicts carved deeper. They walked it, hands clasped, skyline eternal witness. Stunned? Not by labels or lies, but by endurance. In America's heart, where dreams clash concrete, two souls found home. Not in fortunes or facades, but each other.